Hey everybody, I'm Scott Weichel. You're listening to My Kind of Country on MKOCRadio.com. Always a pleasure to have a return guest on our show, and we play the music from this fabulous group very often, and great Western swing music. They have won awards from the Canadian country music venues, and they've won Academy of Western Artists Awards, Ameripolitan Awards, and several great albums out there, including this brand new one called Big Deal. And it's a big deal because there's some really fantastic guest artists on here and some stellar music. It's a pleasure to have Shane Gousset from Western Swing Authority with me tonight. Shane, how you doing?
I'm great. Thanks, Scott. Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, it's always a pleasure to talk with you. I always enjoy our conversations, and I appreciate you sending me your new album. It's fantastic, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, before we talk about all the songs on here, you've got some extremely big guest artists on this project. Tell me a little bit about that.
we do. Yeah, we set some lofty goals, and and we took a little organizing, but we managed to pull it off. And it's interesting. All these artists that are guests on here, there's some connection in some way or another with the band, or with at least one person in the band. So there's always a connection with every artist, and either we've worked with them before, or we've just been massively influenced by them, or we've met them somewhere, or worked together in some capacity. And it was really exciting to do it and get it all put together and see how it would turn out.
Well, I'm sure logistically it was probably quite an adventure to get all this done with everybody's schedules and everything.
It sure was, I'll tell you. We had people from all over North America. So we had some people here in Canada, but some of them are in Ontario, which is that makes it a little easier. But then others on the West Coast, and then we've got people in Nashville, and we had people in California, and people in Austin. So it was. Yeah, it took a little bit of organizing, but in the end, it was totally worth it. It was. There were times I think where I thought, "Oh my gosh, we're never gonna get this put together," but it happened. It all worked, and that's just really in part thanks to all the people that that made it happen. Really, like all these guests that we've asked, they gave of their time to make sure that it came together.
That is really cool. Well, I love the song with Ray Benson. Of course, Ray was asleep at the wheel, and he wrote this song on here, "Dancing with Who Brung You."
He did. Well, like I said, some of the people on here are huge influences on us, and Ray is probably definitely the biggest. Literally and figuratively, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
I've been a Wheel fan forever, for as long as I can remember, and so to have him on a track, with us, record a song together is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's still kind of almost doesn't seem real, but we got to meet him a few years ago. I guess in 2015 is the first time we got to meet him, and that in itself was just. Wow, I can't believe I'm standing here backstage talking to Ray Benson, and we're playing on the same stage. And now, it's led to this, where we've actually recorded a song together, which is, it's pretty cool, man.
Absolutely, it is. Right in your wheelhouse, right?
It sure is.
Buddy Spiker, too, another legendary fiddle player. And he's on your title cut, and that, big deal. I guess that really does describe it,
It really does. Yeah, Buddy is, again, I think for me personally, was such a huge influence on me. I met him, in my younger years. I went to a Mark O'Connor fiddle camp, and I went to a couple of them, and he was one of the instructors there, and that's when I first met him. And we just kind of hit it off really well, and he's like the nicest guy you're ever going to meet, on top of being just a monster player. And, and has just always been such a nice guy. He actually played at my sister's wedding.
Oh, wow. No kidding.
Yeah, he came up and played at my sister's wedding. It was, so I've known him a long time, and then, this album came around, and I was like, well, if we're having instrumental guests on here, then this is my number one pick, for sure, is Buddy Spiker. And so it's pretty cool. Pretty cool to have him on there. Again, first time we've ever gotten to record anything together. So for me, that's a big deal.
He's staying busy. He's got to be gosh, he's got to be pushing 80, I would think.
He just had his 80th birthday.
Okay, yeah, he was on. I had Dennis Stromat and Tony Booth on the show a couple weeks ago, and he's on that project that they did. It's a tribute to Tony Booth, and he's on there, and just just an amazing guy. He just staying right busy, you know.
I know. It just, I tell you, when I grow up, I want to be able to play like Buddy Spiker, because that guy, the way his mind works, and on the fingerboard is just incredible. Anytime that I, am fortunate enough to get down his neck of the woods, I will, I will set aside a half a day or an afternoon and go and see him, and just get him to, just pick his brain as much as I can, and it's just amazing to watch. Even just watching his hands. I have videos of his hands. Like, I'm taking a picture of it. I'm videoing it. And even as I'm watching it, I'm like, I still can't entirely tell what it is you're doing, how you're getting that to happen, because the efficiency of motion in his hands is so good that it almost doesn't look like they're moving. And it's just crazy. He's so good.
Incredible. That's one of the things I love about, country music people especially. They very much revere their the musicians and the session musicians, and they're treated as legends as well they should be.
Yeah, well, sure. He in kind of looking things up when we're doing this record, and I was just sort of looking up little bits of information on everybody that maybe I didn't know. And one of the things I did know about Buddy is that he is the most recorded fiddle player ever.
Wow, I didn't know that, but I certainly believe it.
I didn't know it either. I can believe it, but I didn't know that. I was like, wow, he's been on more albums than any other fiddler.
Yeah, you can. You're hard pressed. You pick up a stack of country albums, you're hard pressed not to find his name on there somewhere. And he's
sure.
There's people like Pig Robbins is another one who's he's on just about everybody's recordings at some time. And Harold Bradley and all those guys. So no, that's really cool. Carolyn Martin is another one that I absolutely love, and she looks like she co-wrote the song with you on this CD.
She did, and again, Carolyn is. We've known Carolyn for, I'm going to say we first met in 2013, I think, or 2012, and we ended up playing a show together in Toronto, and that's when we first met. And oh my gosh, and she's just the most wonderful person you're ever going to meet. They came up, her and David, and they played a show with us at a place called Hughes Room in Toronto. And we had a great time, and since then we have done a few other things together, and we've been down to visit them at their place, and we've played together I don't know how many times, and so it was really great. If you're going to have a Western swing influence, Carolyn is definitely one of those people that we had to have on this record, cool. And she was kind enough to do it, and we got to write a song together, which it's one of my favorite tracks.
Absolutely. Well, your lovely wife singing vocals on this album too, and she's phenomenal and just absolutely love it. Looks like you guys wrote quite a few of the songs together too.
We did, yeah. So most of the co-writes are actually, I think all of the co-writes would be Stacy and I and whoever. So Stacy and I and Carolyn, or Stacy and I, and Carrie DeMayer is a writer up around here that we write with a lot. So she's got 2 or 3, I think, on there, and so. Yeah, I think it's important to, I love the classic Western swing, and I love playing those songs, and I want to play those songs, but I think it's important you have to write new music as well, and that keeps putting fuel on the fire for the genre, and I think that's an important thing to do.
Well, absolutely, and you're carrying it on too. You're carrying on the tradition and keeping it alive, and you're adding to it. And years from now, people will be covering your songs that are carrying on Western swing.
I hope so. That would be great.
I firmly believe that. These stand right up there. They're going to stand the test of time with some of the songs. You've got obviously some great classics on here, like My Window Faces the South, and Big Balls In Cowtown. That was a very interesting introduction you did on that song. How did that come about?
Yeah. Well, that intro, I think initially it was my intention to have the phone call right out of the gate, and I wanted to have it start with the phone call. And I don't know why. It was just sort of, it's like, I like a record, when you listen to a record from start to finish, I like it to be sort of, a journey through. Like, if you listen to the record, there's little extra things that you get when you listen through from beginning to end, and little things that happen within the record. So it's just not just song, but it just makes it an entertaining listen from start to finish. And so I like doing those little things like that. And so I wanted the phone call where we call George and ask him, and I kind of had that thought in mind. And then one day we were going in the studio, and Stacy got there ahead of me, and they had created the whole the whole operator thing by the time I got there, and I just thought it was hilarious. And so it's all on there. So yeah, there's a minute goes by before music at all.
I know. I was when I got the album, I had it on. I was listening to it, and I was kind of walking around the office doing some things, and all of a sudden I heard that phone. It sounds just like my phone. So I turned around, I'm looking at my phone, and there's nothing. And I'm like, and then it rang again. I'm like, okay, you got me.
Yep. You know what? I've got myself with it. When we were mixing, and I would put mixes in the car, or I would do things that I'd leave a disc in the car. And then I'd get in the car later, and it would start and be that track. And I'd be like, looking, I'm going, what's going on? Where's my phone? What is my phone doing? And then realize, getting myself with my own gag. So there you go.
I love it. Well, this album is called Big Deal. It is available at thewesternswingauthority.com, and we will make sure and put that information on our social media as well. And you guys are also on Facebook and Twitter, and I'm sure this album is going to be available at all the usual suspects out there, Amazon and iTunes and all those great places as well.
It's on all of them. You can get it everywhere. So please do.
Outstanding.
And look us up. We're on all the socials. Yeah, for sure. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff.
Oh, you guys are so much fun, and I appreciate you've got a quote of mine on your website. That makes me feel really honored. I appreciate that.
Oh, I appreciate the quote. It's a wonderful quote. I appreciate it.
Well, it's very, very heartfelt, and I truly enjoy. You brought up a very a good point, and I often recommend to my listeners. When you purchase songs, get the whole album. And albums, people always say, well, they're not albums anymore. Well, yeah, they are. There are records, there are CDs, there are different formats, but an album is a collection of songs. And it's not, people think that that's a vinyl record. No, it's not. It's a collection of songs. So, this is an album, and I encourage listeners to, to get the whole album. And I still, I'm the older school guy. I mean, I've got a huge stack of vinyl behind me, and I love having things in my hands. I like to read liner notes, and
Me too.
And it's just a really cool thing to have. And I think most people still like that.
I think so. It's part of the process, right? I think, again, and it's more of an event than when you're listening.
Yeah.
It's not background noise. You're sitting down and you're opening it up and you're reading about it and you're listening to it, and it's a thing that you sit and do, like you would sit and watch a movie. You don't just put it on in the background while you're vacuuming. You sit down and you watch it. This is the same thing. You listen to music. That's the way I like to listen to music, is to actually sit, and that's what I'm doing while I'm doing that. And I think that's why vinyl is so popular, because it's more of that process. You have to sit down and you have to take it out of the sleeve and put it on the record player, and that's it's an event, something you
absolutely.
do. And I don't think people realize how much, as an artist, that you torture yourself with the order of songs.
Oh yeah.
When you're putting an album together, it's like, okay, now we've got all these songs. What is the order going to be?
Yep.
What's going to make it flow, and what's going to, what's the best way for this to all come across?
It's like programming my radio show, or it's like doing a live show. You've got to figure out, okay, I got to have a fast song here, a slow song here. You can't have 4 slow songs in a row, and so it's absolutely
Exactly.
There's an art form to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, congratulations on the many awards that have been bestowed on you. I know you've won several from the Canadian Country Music Awards and the Academy of Western Artists and the Ameripolitan. That's got to be pretty incredible to get that recognition.
It's wonderful. It's just kind of, I always look at it, I equate it to this, is, the music industry is sometimes not always the most forthcoming in terms of, you're not always sure if what you're doing is right or not, and but when those things happen, I think it's just a little encouragement, that tells you, like, okay, yeah, you're heading in the right direction. Your peers are looking at this, and they're saying, yeah, we're digging what you're doing, and so that's great, and so we've been really fortunate in that aspect that we've some awards up here in Canada and then some down in the U.S. and we keep getting nominated for those Ameripolitans. One of these years we'll get one, I hope. But it's great to get recognized. And then when you go to those events, you get to kind of see and hang out with all these people that are kind of into the same thing you're into, and that's cool.
That's the best part of it. The great people you get to meet and spend time with, and obviously, the folks that you have met and become friends with, they respect what you're doing because they're on this album with you. And I don't think there's any higher praise.
That's it. It's all these people. Like a lot of these people, we met because of those scenarios.
Yeah.
We end up at award shows together, and then that's where we meet, and then that's where we hit it off, and then the music comes from there. So it's great. The associations are really important in that they breed that camaraderie amongst musicians and artists. Absolutely. So what's going on as far as tour and promotion for this new project for you guys? Well, we're gonna. And it's kind of funny. I'm actually out on a tour right now, but it's with another artist and that I'm playing fiddle for. And so when I get home from that, that's when the touring and the promos are. I mean, we're doing obviously interviews and reviews and things like that are happening now. And then in December and then into the new year, we've got a bunch of shows. All kind of lining up right now. So some are on the website, some are not yet, but they will be going up on the website really soon. So keep an eye on things, and hopefully we'll be down in somebody's neck of the woods that gets to come and see us.
Outstanding, and that is thewesternswingauthority.com. Make sure you get the in there. You got to have that. We'll put that on our Facebook page. You'll find it anyway. You'll still find it. The album is called Big Deal, and of course they have several other great albums that you've heard so many of their songs on our show and continue to hear them. And we're going to play just a really good handful of the songs from this new one for you right now. And Shane, thank you so much. Again, always a pleasure to talk with you. You are welcome on my show anytime, and your music will always have a home here at My Kind of Country.
Thank you very much, Scott. I appreciate that.
All right, that is Shane Gousset. TheWesternSwingAuthority.com is the place to go, folks. Big deal. Here's some great songs from that album for you as we continue with My Kind of Country on MKOCRadio.com.
The number you have dialed, 1-800-422-6966, has been changed to 1-800-752-9972. Please note, the new number is 1-800-PLAY-WSA.
That's easy.
Hello, this is George.
Hey, George, this is Shane.
Well, hey, Goose, what's on your mind, buddy?
Well, I just wanted to tell you how excited we are about having you on the record, and I was wondering what song you wanted to do.
Well, I'm not too sure. Wait a minute. I think it just hit me.
What'd you say?
I said, it just hit me.
Well, then, boys, hit me 4 times with a little bit of big balls in Cowtown. Saltine crackers, 10 cents a pound. Big balls in Cowtown, we'll all go down. Big balls in Cowtown, we'll dance around. Hey, come on, mama, the hogs done got me. Well, get up here and sing one, George.
Well, don't mind if I do, Goose. I'll go to Cowtown, I'll dance around. Board up your windows, the big boys in town. Big balls in Cowtown, we'll all go down. Big balls in Cowtown.
them sad blues. Big balls in town. Big balls in Cowtown, we'll all go down. Big balls in Cowtown, we'll dance around.
Blair Goose.
Everybody's smiling, you can't find a frown.
No wonder the girls are all happy now. The big balls in town.
Big balls in Cowtown, we'll all go down. Big balls in Cowtown, we'll dance
One more
around.
for it.
Big balls in Cowtown, we'll all go down. Big balls in Cowtown. Big balls in town.
Man, I don't know where this ball's at, but we gotta find it. Come on, young fella, I'll buy you a beer.
It's time the Western Swing Authority brought in the authority on Western Swing. Here's a little Ray Benson.
You've got to dance with who brung you, swing with who swung you. Don't be a fickle fool.
If you came here with a gal who has always been your pal,
That's me.
Don't you leave her for the first unattached girl that just ain't cool. You gotta dance with who brung you, swing with who swung you. Life ain't no 40-yard dash.
No, be in it for the long run. In the long run, you'll have more fun if you dance with who brung you to the bash.
I had a friend from Texas, really had some style. He sang good old Western swing and drove 'em wild.
Then a talent scout from Vegas said, boy, dress and sing this way.
No way!
In one short year, he's broken in L.A.
Yeah, you gotta dance with who brung you, swing with who swung you.
Life ain't no 40-yard dash.
That's what I said. Be in it for the long run. In the long run, you'll have more fun if you dance with who brung you to the bash.
Oh, yeah.
Play us a little guitar, Ray.
You gotta be real careful what you wish for, 'cause you just might get the hold on.
Be sure what you want is really something you can use.
Or you might wind up out there just singing the blues. Yeah, you gotta dance with who brung you, swing with who swung you. Life ain't no 40-yard dash.
Be in it for the long run. In the long run, you'll have more fun if you dance with who brung you,
swing with who swung you. Yeah, dance with who brung you to the bash.
Oh, yeah.
and a nice good wife of 50-odd years, sat at the same table in the very same chair. Folks somehow knew that you just don't sit there.
Though the faces have faded, the ghosts are apart
of the bones of this old country bar. This old bar, this old bar. Music and memories live on in our hearts. Well, this old world keeps changing, but you know who you are when you step inside this old bar.
Waltzes and two-steps on this sawdust floor.
The sound of twin fiddles
And a sad steel guitar. We all raise our glasses of whiskey and wine to the legends in pictures frozen in time.
Paul will tell you the story for each heartache and scar. Yeah, he's the rock of this whole country bar.
Tell him, Paul.
Well, I want to tell you folks, I spent a lot of years making music out on the road. But for the last more than 20, well, this old bar's been my home. I've had to outrun some hard times, but I never get too far. Yeah, I keep coming back to this old bar.
This old bar, this old bar. Music and memories live on in our hearts.
Well, this whole world keeps changing, but you know who you are when you step inside this old bar.
This old bar, this old bar. Music and memories live on in our hearts. Well, this whole world keeps changing, but you know who you are
When you step inside this old bar. This old bar.
Thank you so very much, and we'll see you next time.
My window faces the south. My window faces the south. I'm almost halfway to heaven. Snow is falling, still I can see fields of cotton calling to me. Yeah, my window faces the south. Oh yeah, it does. And though I'm far from the Swami, I'm never frowning or down in the mouth. My window faces the south. Here we go. faces the south. I'm almost halfway to heaven. Snow is falling and still I can't see. Fields of cotton smiling right back at me. My window faces the south. And though I'm far from the Swami, I'm never frowning or down and up.
That's right.
My window faces the south.